Thank you. Director, thank you for being here, and I'd like to start by thanking you for your work, your integrity, and your leadership at the CFPB to protect consumers. We've heard about the billions of dollars in consumer relief to the hundreds of thousands of Americans. And those Americans, would you say, are in all districts, Democrat and Republican districts?
All across the country.
Thank you. And that means that it ensures fairness, transparency, and competition in our financial system. So let me say for the record, Mr. Chairman, there is no doubt in my mind that consumer protection problems are rampant in our financial system. And I want to go on the record saying Americans would be much worse off if the CFPB was no longer able to continue its work. I have two questions I'd like to get through, but first, since there's been a lot of attention to your schedule and your time, it seems like we alternate terms or Congresses when we decide to pick on the individual or CFPB. Mind you, since I've been here and many of my colleagues on this committee, I remember when former Congressman, member of this committee, Mulvaney, said some of the most disparaging things about the CFPB and about the director at that time, Cordray, who he was replacing. Operative words. He went here, yet he took a job to be in the same position you're in. If we want to talk about integrity, if we want to talk about putting politics over people or maybe even money, but to his calendar, in the committee, he said he worked 3 days a week. Now, people are questioning you on a calendar. Do you work more than 3 days a week?
Yes.
And he said when he wasn't working, he loved watching baseball, and he put a TV in one of his office so he could watch baseball and protect our people. So if we want to talk about you being a extortionist, as somebody said, I want to use the word hypocrisy and enter it into the record for everyone on the other side of the aisle that chose to support beating you up on a calendar when you work more than 3 days. Now, let me get to my questions. We sent you a letter that I signed on to about Section 1033 rule of including EBT and other government benefit accounts in that rule. First of all, let me say thank you for responding to the letter, acknowledging that it was an issue and that you would continue to look into it. So I don't know if you have anything you'd like to add for the committee about these types of benefits being considered within the scope of the final rule.
So one of the things we're going to do is a bunch of these rules, mortgage products and others were raised before. With EBT and other government benefits, part of what we're doing is we're wanting to talk to the Department of Agriculture and others that administer these, because we really want to understand any technical issues that go along. But I completely share your view that all transaction accounts, we want that data to be able to be used to help.
Thank you. Let me move to my next. Since our chairman, McHenry, said we were going to put diversity in every committee, I'm a ranking on a sub, we haven't had a diversity hearing yet. But I'd like to commend you for 53% of the CFPB executives being women, 40% identifying themselves as minorities. Would you be willing to work with us or respond in writing where you are with contracting out to diverse groups, whether that's in legal services, contracting, et cetera? And that's a yes or a no for my time.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And in fairness, Mr. Chairman and Ranking Member, that I'm giving equal opportunities, the director prior to you, Republican appointed, did hold meetings with Democrats and Republicans, did talk about diversity. So I wanted to thank her for the work that she did do. And I also think she worked more than 3 days a week. I don't know what her calendar was, but I want to commend you for the work that you're doing. And also, one of my colleagues said, not much has changed. For the record, let me say, you could not receive 10,000 complaints weekly that you respond to. You could not do what you've done with AI. You could not do what you've done with algorithms. You could not do what you've done with bank failures. So again, thank you, and my time is up.